Hey guys, welcome to Pages with Sidra. This is chapter 670 of Magic Emperor. If you haven't watched the previous chapters, make sure to check them out on my channel. Now, without any delay, let's dive into the chapter. As Zhuo Yifan stood before exalted He Ran, he couldn't help but feel wary. The old man's expression was unreadable. Was his tone filled with joy or concealed anger? If it was the latter, then Zhuo Yifan had every reason to be concerned. If He Ran truly intended to take out his frustration on him, then his life was at risk. But if the exalted elder still held some sentiment for their past master-disciple relationship, then perhaps there was nothing to fear. He watched as He Ran smiled. Yet there was something strange about it, neither fully warm nor entirely cold. Zhuo Yifan couldn't help but wonder what the old man was truly thinking. Sensing the tension, exalted He Ran finally spoke, his voice carrying an air of amusement. Kid, no need to panic. I already told you I wasn't here for you. You saw how I killed that old thing for you, didn't you? Isn't it obvious that I'm on your side? Zhuo Yifan, though skeptical, had no choice but to acknowledge the elder's words. With a respectful gesture, he cupped his hands and lowered his head slightly. Outwardly, he appeared grateful, but inwardly, he remained unconvinced. No one will believe you. Despite his thoughts, he still responded formally. Thank you for saving me, exalted. He Ran let out a small chuckle, shaking his head. Fine, you're one cautious kid. I came to help, but it turns out I wasn't even needed. Zhuo Yifan remained silent for a moment before speaking again. His hands were still clasped in a respectful stance, but his tone was measured. Exalted sir, if there is nothing else. Turning slightly, he prepared to take his leave. Then I shall be on my way. However, just as he was about to depart, He Ran's voice boomed through the air. Come back. The sudden command made Zhuo Yifan stop in his tracks. Am I really that terrifying that you're so eager to run away? He Ran mused, his tone carrying a hint of amusement. Zhuo Yifan slowly turned back, maintaining his composure. Exalted sir, didn't you say you came to help me? Now that you have saved me and the culprit is dead, what more do you want from me? He Ran's smirk deepened. Kid, you just want to run away, don't you? I came here to protect you, yet you're in such a hurry to leave. Do you really think that's proper? Zhuo Yifan sighed inwardly. He knew the old man wasn't speaking without purpose. There was something more behind this conversation. Ugh, exalted sir, you were the one who said you came for nothing. Regardless of whether you acted or not, I could have handled things myself. So, while I appreciate your concern, I have nothing to offer in return. Even as he said this, a realization dawned upon him. The old man didn't come here just for idle talk. He must want something from me. Otherwise, he wouldn't keep pressing this point. Exalted He Ran let out a small laugh before speaking again. I helped you deal with Elder Luo. That means I did you a favor, not meddled in your affairs. Think about it. If he had died by your hands, you would have offended the beast-taming sect. But since I was the one who did it, I merely carried out justice according to the rules. That way, the beast-taming sect has no grounds for retaliation. Zhuo Yifan wasn't easily convinced. Yet they'll still take their anger out on me. What's the difference? Unless you plan to destroy the entire beast-taming sect, there's nothing else to talk about. And I can't return any favor. He Ran chuckled again, this time shaking his head as if amused by the boy's boldness. When our precious disciple wanted to stabilize the western lands, we didn't interfere. Do you think I'd do that for you? Hearing this, Zhuo Yifan understood that there was no further discussion to be had. He turned around once again, preparing to leave. Then there is no favor to return. Goodbye. Just as he was about to take his first step away, He Ran's voice rang out once more, this time carrying a different weight. Wait. Come back. I have something for you. Zhuo Yifan halted, a smirk forming on his lips. Sure enough, I was right. Now I don't need to be afraid anymore. As he turned back to face exalted He Ran, the elder let out a sigh and spoke once more. Kid, can you stop pretending? I'm not asking for much, just to give you a ban. You are not to fight in the lower 3 sects and middle 3 sect stages. That is all. Zhuo Yifan eyes narrowed as he processed exalted He Ran's words. There was something about this situation that didn't sit right with him. Taking a step forward, he spoke, his voice carrying a sharp edge. That's it. You decided all of this by yourselves without even asking me. Exalted He Ran, however, remained unfazed. His voice was calm yet authoritative as he explained. No rule can be overcompensating. The Double Dragon Gathering has always been conducted with the approval of the other 9 sections. More importantly, it has always upheld fairness. Even though you committed no mistake, we had to impose this ban on you, not because of any real fault on your part, but to maintain our reputation. The old man's gaze turned sharp as he continued. You're simply too powerful, far beyond what even a genius from the middle 3 sects should be capable of. If you participate, the other sects won't even dare to step on the stage. The entire purpose of the gathering, to assess the potential of each sect, will be lost. That is why we wish for you to withdraw from these battles. It will only be until the superior 3 sects begin their fights. Without you in that stage, the demon scheming sect will be at a disadvantage, but that is the only way to keep balance in the competition. Zhuo Yifan remained silent for a moment before his sharp gaze locked onto the exalted. And how do you know that we even aim to become one of the superior 3 sects? He Ran let out a deep chuckle, his expression one of amusement. Huh? Do you even need to ask? Every member of the demon scheming sect possesses the strength required to qualify for that rank. It's only natural for you to aim for it. Zhuo Yifan, however, remained indifferent. It doesn't matter whether I fight or not, he said casually. The real question is, what's in it for me? At that, exalted He Ran fell silent for a brief moment before responding. I've known about Elder Lu's plan for quite some time. I did not act earlier because I wanted to see what you were truly capable of. His expression darkened slightly. And just as that elder said, you're a monster through and through. A threat to the lower 3 sects. Someone who shouldn't even exist. Zhuo Yifan felt a cold sweat trickle down his back. His instincts told him that there was more behind these words than simple observation. Exalted sir, are you threatening me? Zhuo Yifan asked, his tone steady but laced with caution. Is the Double Dragon Manor really so powerful that they can strike down any disciple of any sect as they please? He Ran, however, merely chuckled. Hee. An exalted could not. However, Elder Lu's hatred for you ran deep. He even laid a trap to kill you. There was a pause before he continued. But then, the Double Dragon Manor uncovered the truth. So, we executed him on the spot, delivering justice on your behalf. Now you tell me. Before he could finish, Zhuo Yifan scoffed, cutting him off mid-sentence. Humph, that does sound quite logical. His eyes, however, held no warmth as he continued. Fine, I agree. I won't be participating in any of the remaining fights. With that, Zhuo Yifan turned on his heel. Without hesitation, he moved toward 2 young women who had been kidnapped earlier. Without another word, lifted them into his arms. As he did so, his voice remained calm and indifferent. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving now. Exalted He Ran gave a final warning, his tone carrying an undeniable weight. This matter concerns the honor of the Double Dragon Manor. I don't want a word of this getting out. Zhuo Yifan merely smirked as he leaped into the sky, his robes billowing in the wind. Not to worry, he called back. Your filthy affairs are safe with me. And with that, he disappeared into the horizon. As Zhuo Yifan left, exalted He Ran watched his figure disappear into the distance. With a deep sigh, he shook his head and muttered to himself. That kid is too smart for his own good. He was overly cautious until he fully grasped the situation. But now that he has, he shows no fear. He isn't the type to be bogged down by minor troubles. His eyes are always set on the bigger picture. Beside him, Elder Du let out a weary sigh before speaking. But his temper bears a striking resemblance to Shung's defiance. Won't we find ourselves in another deep mess because of him? Exalted Ray, who had been silently observing, finally spoke up, his voice carrying a sense of wisdom and regret. By May, have we not maintained the Double Dragon Manor for the sake of all cultivators in the Western lands? We sought to make cultivation fair, ensuring that those with the talent to cultivate could pursue enlightenment without fear. His gaze darkened as he continued. Yet as time passed, more and more people focused only on resources and power. True cultivators have dwindled with each generation. It is the same for both demonic and righteous cultivators alike. Greed has consumed them, and in that greed, they have forgotten the core principles of cultivation. Perhaps even we have. Exalted Ray's expression turned solemn as he spoke the next words. For the sake of fairness, we cast out our most talented disciple. Across the ages, Only a few individuals have ever pursued cultivation with pure intentions, and now, another one has appeared in front of us. And yet, why must we be the ones to crush his aspirations? Elder Du remained silent for a long moment before finally replying. Perhaps we are no longer the same cultivators who once upheld those ideals. Now, as the exalted double dragon, we do not just oversee the Western lands. We control them. We have changed, just as the Western lands have changed. Exalted Ray let out a deep, hearty laugh, though there was a trace of sadness in his voice. No wonder Sheng surpassed us so quickly. His gaze drifted into the distance as he spoke. We have barely moved in ages because we strayed too far from the true path. Now that we have encountered another such person, will we make the same mistake again? A heavy silence fell over them. Elder Du did not speak. He simply stood there, lost in thought. After a long pause, Exalted Ray turned toward him and, with firm resolve, declared, "If Sheng returns, I want to give him the sword. Let him follow his aspirations." Elder Du slowly nodded in agreement, saying nothing, but his acceptance was clear. And with that, the chapter came to an end. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates. Let's meet again in the next video. Until then, enjoy.